begin. All rise. Okay. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, take seats. With that,
Roll call, John.
I would like to welcome you to the Town of New Canaan Town Council Budget / regular meeting for April 2nd, 2020. Would you like to take the roll, Mr. Vice Chairman?
Yes. Tom Butterworth.
Here.
Robin Bates Mason.
Here.
Liz Donovan.
Here.
John Engel.
Here.
Sven England.
Here.
Mark Jimsky.
Here.
Steve Carl.
Here.
Mike Morrow.
Here.
Maria Naughton.
Here.
Christina Ross.
Here.
Rich Townsend. Here. Penny Young.
Here.
All present and accounted for. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. The meeting is open. We have only one item on the agenda, and that is the approval of the operating budget and tax-supported capital for the Town of New Canaan and the Board of Education. With that, we can begin. I make a motion to request to approve the general government budget of $4,162,048. Do I have a second?
Aye.
You'll do them all. You can second them all, Sven. We'll make it really easy. You second everything. Okay, we have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Keep
Aye.
it held. And Sven,
Next.
you say yes or no?
Yes. Aye.
John, yes. Penny,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Robin.
Yes.
The motion passes. Tom, is that what you want for every line?
John,
Yes.
what the Board of Finance did, and I highlighted in red, they read out the numbers for each individuals, and then what's in red is a sum of everything, and you just make a motion on the red.
Good. That's what we'll do. Thank you.
So you don't have to make a motion for each one.
Okay. That saves a lot of time. Do you need to see it visually and verbally?
I think we need to capture it verbally.
Okay. I can show it on the screen if you'd like, and we can just, and as people talk, they'll show up.
Well, John, I'm okay if you just go through and count them and say Sven, Penny, Christina, Tom, Maria, all in favor.
Okay. Okay. Next line. Richard Townsend, would you do the town operating expense budget?
Certainly.
Do the whole thing.
I will. Okay. This request is to approve benefits and insurance of $9,492,286. Request to approve public safety budget of $12,570,416. Approve the public works budget of $9,174,032. Approve the request of the recreation budget of $1,929,365. Approve the health and human services budget of $478,176. Approve the human services agencies budget of $140,000. Approve the other agencies budget of $649,000. Approve the library budget of $2,379,072, and approve the inter-fund transfer budget of $39,531. That totals a total town operating expense budget therefore of $41,012,926.
Second.
Okay, the motion is seconded by Sven. Raise your hand if you are in support of the motion.
Aye.
Okay, so the yeses are Sven, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mark, Tom, Mike Morrow, Richard Townsend, and Robin Bates Mason. The motion passes unanimously. Steve and Carl, will you do the next group?
Yes, sir. Request to approve the contingency budget of $575,024. Request to approve the BOE pension budget of $403,627. Request to approve the Board of Education 401A match budget at $133,250. The total operating expense budget, therefore, is requested for a capital expenditure budget to be funded by taxation for the town request for capital expenditure budget to be funded by taxation for the Board of Education at $42,124,827. $42,124,827. The request for capital expenditures is $1,459,862. And the request for capital expenditures budget for the BOE, $765,350.
Seconded.
So the motion is seconded by Sven. All in favor, raise your hand. The ayes are Sven, John Engel, Penny, Christina, Steve Carl, Maria Naughton, Liz Donovan, Mark Jimsky, Tom Butterworth, Mike Morrow, Richard Townsend, and Robert Bates Mason. I believe that's unanimous. The motion passes. Next, we have, I believe, the debt service budget. Robin?
Okay, request to approve the debt service budget of $16,992,776. Request to approve the BOE operation budget of $81,000. I'm sorry, 80. Oh no, that's not me. You want me to stop there, right? The debt service?
You're on a roll. Go ahead. You can offer.
Vote on the debt service alone.
You got to vote on that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But Robin, I think you got the numbers wrong. Could you read that number again?
Yeah. $16,992,767.
Seconded.
Sven seconds it. All in favor, raise your right hand. Sven, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mark, Tom, Mike Morrow, Richard Townsend, and Robin. Okay, it passes unanimously. Next, we have Tom Butterworth for the Board of Education Operating and Health Insurance.
I'd like to request that Maria Naughton makes this motion.
Okay.
John, when can we make a motion?
Anytime.
Or to discuss, oh, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion on this.
Okay.
My motion is to cut the operating budget by the $300,000 that the Board of Ed gave to the town council today. So 300 from the original Board of Finance budget number.
Okay. So there is a motion out there to reduce this number by $300,000. Do I have a second?
No, not this number, the Board of Finance approved number.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even know what line item you're talking about, Mark.
The Board of Ed operating budget, the 81 million. We cut it today by 1.1 some million dollars, correct?
That's what you
Okay.
see on the screen. Yes.
Right. And did the Board of Ed propose a 300,000 cut to their own budget today, correct?
Correct.
Well, I am asking that be the number, not the 1.1 that the town council came up with today. I mean, is,
I understand.
okay, so my understanding is that the Board of Finance, the Board of Ed went back and gave $300,000 of additional cuts. That would then, is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that is my motion to reflect that, not the 1.1 million that a portion of the town council came up with.
I second the motion.
Okay, so
And-
I guess I need to do the math because you're not giving me the math. I mean,
Well,
I
here's the
need.
math. Here's the math. I mean, you guys did the numbers today. I wasn't part of it, so. So let's go to the top. You got the Board of Ed, the Board of Finance approved. So the $82,265,213, I would reduce that by $300,000. So it would be just under 82 million.
81, 2, 2, 1, 3. I need to know what number we're voting on. I have 81, 122, 213, and you want me to add what number to that?
Mark, I think you're proposing that it become $81,965,212.
Correct.
Okay, I can work with that.
Sorry about
All right,
that.
so I have a motion on the table from Mark Jimsky to amend the request to approve the BOE operations budget to $81,965,212. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I can't see.
I'll take it. I'll take it off.
John, can you fill us in a little bit about that discussion? Because I'm not aware of it either. This is the first time I've heard about 300,000.
Yeah, I think that needs some explaining too.
That's fine. So yesterday, we had a meeting with Dr. Lutzy, was in the room. Dr. Keating was in the room. Katrina was in the room. Katrina Parkhill from the Board of Education. And from the town council, there was Steve Carl, Richard Townsend, and myself. That was it for the meeting. We expressed that there was a good possibility that the town council was going to vote on a $1.143 million cut to the Board of Education operating budget in order to get the Board of Education operating budget, exclusive of health, to a 2.5% target. And we asked Dr. Lutzy, Dr. Keating, and Katrina Parkhill if they could make a counter proposal to us that would restore school start times, something that we could cut some lesser amount and keep school start times in the budget. And they said, we will get back to you. We will study this. We will look for some savings and we will do the best we can. And today, in the early afternoon, I spoke with Katrina and she said that they can, and yeah, I think it was only Katrina, and she said $300,000. And I asked where it came from. She told me where they could find the savings of $300,000 in order to make the budget work with school start times. And so the Republicans convened a caucus. The Republican town council members, the 8 town council members who are Republican, convened a caucus at 3 o'clock today, discussed that proposal, the original proposal, and a new proposal from Richard Townsend. And we straw polled the Republicans, and we then asked Linda to put in the document that you see in front of you, the $90,880,628, because we felt it reflected what 8 members of the town council were likely to vote for today. It doesn't mean that it had to happen that way, but it looked like the most likely scenario, and we asked him to put the most likely scenario on this read.
Okay, so basically the Board of Finance cut the Board of Ed budget. Now we're cutting it more. They countered with a 300,000, and you're telling me we're not voting on a health issue. That is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. We have now actually, we own this. We own this issue now. You are making this vote right now is a healthcare vote decision that the Board of Ed and a well-regarded superintendent have studied for 3 years, and now we've decided to basically tell him he hasn't done the right work. If I were the leader of an organization, that would be my ticket to say I'm not sure I should be here doing this job anymore. I'm basically not being validated by the voting population. That's the way I see this.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but I feel, and maybe I'm the only one who feels this way, that I have a responsibility to all 20,000 residents of this town. And I believe that I have been consistent, and maybe I am the only one who feels this way, but I feel that we have been consistent in sending a message to the Board of Education for each of the last 3 years that we wanted them to bring their operating budget within 2.5%. I remember writing an op-ed on the subject asking if it was possible to achieve a 2% growth over 3 years. That was perhaps aspirational. I understand that the labor contracts for the Board of Education and for most of town grow at a 2.5% to 2.6% annually. I understand that. I have an understanding of the budget. I'm not looking at a line item on health initiatives. I'm looking at, when I make this decision, an ask of 4.23% that was cut to 3.94% increase by the Board of Finance and is being cut to a 2.5% increase. And we asked yesterday, was there any way to avoid that? And we were told that they could only find $300,000, and we didn't feel like we could do it.
I understand, but we're not talking about being fiscally conservative here. We're talking about making a decision based on 3 years of research that they're proposing. And it went through the Board of Finance, who also made additional cuts to their operating budget. And here we are basically making a very strong statement that I'm not comfortable with. I'm very, very uncomfortable with this situation. I think a lot of people in town are, and I think they've cut, the Board of Finance cut, and I think the $300,000 is, what I think is reasonable, not to put ourselves in this position. I think it sends a bad message to the people of this town. I think it says a bad message to any resident that wants to come in, that we're willing to make these decisions for the Board of Ed. If it's a fiscal decision, I'm all for it.
It is.
It isn't.
It is, Mark. Actually, judging from all of the emails that we have had, and I thank everyone in the community for sharing their thoughts with us. It has taken us, many, many hours of reading and discussion on this issue. And I think what we really have to be concerned about is the health and welfare of our community right now. We have extraordinary circumstances that we have to be dealing with, and we have been trying for years to impress upon both our municipal side and our Board of Education side to, keep our percentage increases over the year over year, because it's not sustainable. And so I don't look at this as a cut. I look at this as retarding the growth of our budget.
And I respect that. I respect that. I think I think there are a lot of other things that we could do in a more fiscally responsible manner in this town. Again, this is a different animal here. We're addressing an issue, and it's implicit in this vote. That's all I have to say.
Mark, if I may, this is Christina. I just like to say that the Board of Education puts a budget forth, and we cannot tell them what to cut and what to add or how to allocate the funds. That's their responsibility. We're not telling them to knock out or eliminate the later start time. That is up to them to figure out how to do it. And if it's a priority for them, they will work it out. But there are other parts of the budget that can be and should be curtailed, and the expenses therefore reduced. And that's what we're talking about in this amount of money.
Okay.
But Mutzi did come speak to us and said, if this cut happens, it would be the start time. So we went into this knowing that would be cut.
Well, I think
that is what it would cut.
I think that he can figure out a way to make that work.
Okay.
You know, if health is the most important thing, then they would have found the money. Because last week I asked the question on Thursday, and I said to Dr. Lutzy, do you have any extra money to find here? And he said, no, this is the tightest budget. So where did $300,000 come from? Where? Okay? So when representations are made to us, I take them for what they are. They're representations. Now there's $300K that's been found. So this is entirely about a fiscal issue. No one's telling the board how to spend their money. They could spend it how they want to do it. Dr. Lutzy is fantastic and he's highly impressive and knows what he's doing. Okay? They could find the money. We know there's excess in the budget. So this isn't a matter of foisting it on the town to make a health decision. And on that score, the other thing I want to note, there's at least 50% of the town we're seeing from these emails that are saying they don't want it because it's going to hurt their elementary kids. And there's never been a sufficient response from anybody about how, oh, no, it's going to be okay. As a matter of fact, go check out the internet and what Greenwich's elementary school teachers are saying about the school start time. They want it to change because it's not right for them. So there's huge gaps in this
Mike, you're missing my point.
No, I'm listening to your point. You're saying we're making a health decision. We're not, because we're spending over $1 million of taxpayer money. $1 million. And that is exactly within our responsibility as a town council. We have the obligation to approve, deny, or eliminate budget items. And we're deeming this particular budget from the Board of Ed of $1 million of taxpayer money in this disaster of an economy right now is not appropriate. If they want to figure it out, they can figure it out some other way. So you can couch it as a health issue to voice it on the council, like we're the bad guys here, but it's just simply not the case. And I referenced all of the other families who are vehemently opposed to this thing. What is it you're telling them?
I'm not. The point of this vote, hold on a second, Mike. The point of this vote is for me not to be part of the decision. I'm not leaning one way or the other on this issue. You clearly have a bias. I have zero bias. I am not for or against this. As a start time issue, I don't care about in terms of it impacting my child at the school. Clearly, you have a bias on it. I am just saying it's not my decision to make.
But it's about the dollars, Mark. It's exactly this decision.
Mike, we have plenty of areas to cut.
Mark, you're elected to decide an issue. We have the right. It's our obligation to watch the money that we're spending. And
I agree. But this isn't being fiscally conservative.
Issue. It's $1 million of taxpayer money. The town is clearly divided on it, and it's more than just the parents of town. It's everybody in town. Are we spending this $1 million the right way? Does the Board of Ed have too high of an ask? You are 100% correct. We're not to make decisions and second guess the Dr. Lutzy. I get that. I am in agreement with you on that. But $1 million of a plan, a so-called plan, where there's so much opposition and we're being asked to go on ahead and say this is the wisest dollars to be spending. That's a fiscal issue that we have the obligation to pass judgment on. That's why I can't support your motion. But I get what you're saying. We just disagree. I mean, it is what it is.
Do we keep a tally? Does the town council keep? I mean, I kept a tally yesterday, but not today because there were so many emails of pro and against.
I think today it's closer to 10 to 1 before the start time changes.
Yeah.
You know, I've warned the people about, be careful about that, because you have groups that organize their letter writing. And so it
What the hell is wrong with that, Penny? What is wrong with that? It's a democracy.
That's democracy.
Will you please stop criticizing democracy?
I'm not criticizing
You also
democracy.
have parents who are
Represent everyone.
you have parents that are writing that they are busy taking care of little kids because they're little, not really aware of everything that's happened, and they're getting involved right now. But I don't see it as 2-to-1. I'm almost saying 1-to-1. Every letter that comes in, one is for, one is either don't vote on the budget, delay the budget, support late start time, which we as a town council can't do. We don't tell the Board of Ed what to do, or fully fund the budget. So there really is a diverse set of opinions coming in. And, you know, if we weren't in a global pandemic right now, we might have a different conversation, but I think that's the priority here.
Don't get me wrong. I respect both sides. I read the opinions on both sides. I'm thrilled that everybody has chimed in. I think it's very helpful. I just wanted to be accurate. You know, I don't think anybody's counted, so let's just not make a judgment on who's ahead. We shouldn't be doing it by popularity contest anyway. We should be doing it based on the science.
I agree. I agree.
I'd say that we are, despite what you think, you know, it's only a fig leaf that says that we are approving the Board of Education budget and they can do anything they want with it. We know for certain that if we make a $1 million cut tonight, that we will have made the decision about start times, okay? And I think that those of us, you know, who are considering this need to think about, you know, where we stand in our job as representatives of the voting public.
I call the question on Mark's motion.
Okay, so we've, Penny's called the question on Mark's motion. Let me remind you to take the 81 to 81,965,212. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
I count Sven, I count Mark, I count Robin, I count Tom. Am I missing any votes in favor of the motion? The motion fails. Do I have any other motions? We can make motions all night. The only motion I've heard is to add 300,000. Okay. So, so before Mark made that motion, I believe that we were going to get Tom Butterworth, and he said he wanted Maria. So Maria, would you like to take that line?
Sure, the next three. Okay, request to approve the BOE operations budget of $81,122,213 and a request to approve the BOE Health Internal Service Fund transfer of $9,758,415. The total Board of Ed operating and health insurance therefore is $90,880,628.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, the second is by Christina Ross. Discussion. Is there any discussion? So this number represents a $1.143 million cut to the Board of Education operating budget, brings it in, I believe, Linda, tell me if I'm wrong, at a 2.5% increase over last year's budget.
Just a quick comment.
Go ahead.
I really believe, I mean, looked at this greatly, and I don't think the issue is in dispute, that there's a serious sleep deprivation problem among our adolescents, and that as a town, I think we're failing these kids. It was silly to blame any particular town body or any particular people, but I would just say as we try to attempt to solve this in the future, and we need to, it's crystal clear to me that everybody's going to have to make some sacrifices. I mean, the kids themselves, many of them don't want to change their start times. Majority, I don't know what the majority is, but there are kids that don't want to change their schedules. There are teachers that don't. Across the town, everybody would have to sacrifice to achieve this goal. And I think in future, that's one thing we have to keep in mind.
Yeah, Tom, I want to make a point on that. And I think you're right. And by the way, I think a unique feature about a lot of the opposition we received in our emails were saying they're not against it forever and that they recognize that there has to be a change. And I think it's important to recognize that those who are opposed are not opposed to some form of a start time change. And I think it's important because I think it reinforces the point I'm making. I think people out there who haven't read, these emails that we've been getting, I think that's an important distinction and feature to note in all of that opposition.
Can I just make one point also? Again, I apologize for the dogs. Again, a lot of people also pointed out that we are in the most uncertain times we've been in 100 years. So that was also a big factor in this decision, at least for me.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, that really is worrisome. It gets worse every single day. There's a new article, a new number. Unemployment claims jumped, 600%? I mean, these are like crazy numbers. Who knows where this will go? And, I do think the town always supports the Board of Ed. And if we get to the point where there's a need for funds, I think the Board of Ed will be able to ask and receive. And I think the town will always support, each other. So I think this is a really strange time and we need to proceed with caution.
I'd like to, I appreciate everyone's comments. I kind of think of the Board of Ed budget as similar to the defense budget that we have in the U.S. It all continues to go up, and it's supported by everyone. It is, unfortunately, it's put together by a lot of smart people who are involved in those decisions, and it's not second guessed by the politicians. And I feel like, unfortunately, that we're second guessing by this vote Dr. Lutzy and all the work that his fantastic people have done. And I just prefer not to be part of that issue. That's why I could not support that decision, but I appreciate that this is a democracy and I'm in the minority.
And I'll say that there is no social distance between my opinion of this and Mark's.
Yeah, I agree with Sven and Mark.
I just want to take a second and compliment Brian and Joanne and Katrina in particular. All three of them, helped us for hours and hours this week, trying to get through this, trying to please everybody. I mean, we did everything we could to try and get this to where everybody could have what they wanted. But unfortunately, we're not in a situation where that's going to happen this year. So thank you to them for understanding that they were incredible teammates in getting through this. We didn't come to an agreement this time, but they did somersaults to meet with us, talk about it, and try to get through it. And at the end, it's, I don't think there's 1 out of 12 of us that don't think school start time should happen at some point. But given the backdrop right now, we just can't do it right now. And we're trying, but there was just no way to get there unless they can figure it out. They were able to figure out 300,000. I don't know. If there's more, if they can figure out something else and they have more time, maybe they will. But right now, this is where we are.
I'd like to add that this is in reality a 2.5% increase to last year's budget.
A quick comment on that. There's been a lot of discussion about excluding health benefits, and I understand there was a fair reason for setting this up that way. But if you do look all in at how much taxpayers are benefiting this year, now as a result of all these cuts, The Board of Ed's budget is now less than last year by 0.8%. It's a negative budget. I know you can make distinctions between operating with and without benefits, but in terms of what's flowing to taxpayers, it's a minus 0.8% all in. So thank you to the Board of Ed
Thank
for
you.
that result.
And as I've said in the prior meetings, when you compare what we get from the town of New Canaan for our tax dollars compared to the top-notch schools in the tri-state area in New Jersey, in Long Island, and in Westchester, we are still the best value. And with a budget rising 1.7% over the last 5 years, I'd like you to find me a school system in the tri-state area that has maintained the same throughput with this type of modest growth to their budget. I'd love to examine that.
I call the question.
Penny calls the question. So, all in favor? Raise your hand.
Is this in favor of calling the question, or is this in favor of the budget item?
I don't think you have
If
to
you don't
vote.
want to call the question, say so. All right, we don't call the question. I mean, we don't vote on calling the question. If you don't want her to call the question, tell me. We're voting on the item. Okay?
Understood.
All in favor of total Board of Education operating and health insurance of $90,880,628. Raise your hand. I count John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, and Mike. I count 8. Oh, and Richard. That makes 8 votes, right? 1, 2. Keep them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 8 votes in favor. All opposed? Okay, I got 1, 2. I think Mark is 3. Yep, and Ben is 4. So we have 4 votes opposed. So the motion passes 8-4. Next on our list, the total, I believe Liz, you're up.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the total town operating expenses, all capital, debt service, and Board of Education expenses are therefore $152,223,434.
Do I have a second? Sven.
I'll second.
Okay, Penny seconds the motion. Discussion. Okay, no discussion. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, it's John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mike Morrow, and Richard Townsend. That's 8. All opposed? Okay, it's Sven, Thomas, Mark, and Robin. The motion passes. Next on our list, Richard Townsend.
Request to approve the general fund revenue budget of $8,728,676.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Okay. There being no discussion, all in favor, raise your hand. Ben, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mark, Tom, Mike, Richard, and Robin makes unanimous 12. The motion passes. Okay, next on my list is fund balance. Mike Morrow.
Make a motion. Hold on a second. The contingency budget?
It's the $5 million line. Look at my screen.
I have it right. I make a motion to request to approve the fund balance contribution of $5 million.
Seconded.
Okay, second is by Sven. All in favor? Any discussion? I guess not. All in favor of $5 million, raise your hand. Sven, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mike, Tom, and Robin. That means it's unanimous. 12-0. The motion passes. Okay, next on my list is signed to me. Okay, I have a motion to approve the amount to be raised by taxation for the general fund budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year is therefore $138,494,758. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Steve Carl seconds. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your hands. John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mike, and Richard. That's 8 votes. All opposed, raise your hand. Sven, Robin, Mark,
All right.
and Tom. 4 votes against. The motion passes. Okay.
I make a motion to approve a tax collection rate of 98.5%.
Okay. Any seconds? Steve Carl, any discussion at 98.5%? This has been controversial in the past where we, the town council has had one opinion on that number and the Board of Finance has had another opinion. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your hand. Sven, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mike, Tom, and Robin, and Richard make it unanimous. The motion passes, 12-0. The motion passes. Next up is Steve Carl, and I'll even make it big on the screen for him.
Request to approve a reserve for uncollectible taxes of $2,085,543.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven England. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, all in favor, raise your hand. Sven, John, Penny, Christina, Steve, Maria, Liz, Mark, Tom, Mike, Richard, and Robin makes 12. The motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the next page.
Request to approve the total sewer fund operating and capital budget of $2,365,739.
Seconded.
The motion is seconded by Sven. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The motion carries unanimously, 12-0. Next is Christina Ross.
Request to approve the sewer fund revenue budget of $1,873,832.
Seconded.
Okay, it's seconded for $1.873,832,000. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, raise your hand if you approve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The motion carries unanimously. Next, Penny.
Motion to request and approve the fund balance contribution of $491,907.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The motion carries unanimously, 12-0. Next is Tom.
Total revenues to support the sewer fund 2020 to 2021 fiscal year is therefore $2,365,739.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The motion carries unanimously, 12-0. Now we're into other funds. Liz Donovan. You want to read them all, you want them individually, don't you, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. Liz, you're up first.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I make a motion to approve the request to approve the total dog license fund revenue budget of $30,605 and expense budget of $30,605.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven England. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The motion carries unanimously, 12-0. Next.
Request to approve the total parking fund revenue budget of $195,000 and expense budget of $195,000.
Seconded.
Thanks, Steve.
By Steve Carl, who likes to get in there on parking fund revenue. Great. Any discussion on parking fund revenue? There being none, raise your hand. If you approve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Next, Stephen Carl.
Request to approve the total railroad property fund revenue budget of $193,000 and an expense budget of $193,000.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven. Any discussion? There being none, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Motion carries unanimously, 12-0. Mark.
Request to approve the total property rental fund revenue budget of $9,600 and an expense budget of $9,600.
Seconded.
Okay, Sven, he got in there first. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pat carries unanimously. The motion carries. Maria.
Request to approve the Waveney Pool revenue budget of $590,267 and expense budget of $590,267.
Seconded.
Seconded by Sven. Is there any discussion on the Waveney Pool revenue budget of $590,000? God, I hope we have a pool. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Steve Benko, all 12 of us love your pool and are funding your pool. I hope you open that pool.
All right, request to approve the total movie theater revenue budget of $110,400 and expense budget of $110,400.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Although Penny was rather tentative.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. It passes 12-0. Tom Statler,
A roller in my hand.
make sure you record Penny was emphatically in favor.
Okay, this completes the approval process by the town council for the proposed 2020-2021 fiscal budget. The appropriation shall be filed in the office of the town clerk promptly and shall be published promptly in summary form in at least once. The appropriation shall become effective 8 days after publication unless a notice of intent to file a petition for a referendum has been filed in the office of the town clerk within 7 days after publication. That's according to Town Charter Sections C413 and C414.
It is my understanding after talking with the town clerk, Claudia Weber, that with the first selectman, that the governor has suspended our right to conduct referendums on the budget this year. Is that right, first selectman? You could just nod your head. Hold on. You're still muted, Kevin. I know that because at least one member of the
Yes.
inquired. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, the governor's order, given our, well, actually, all towns and cities cannot have a referendum this year. So
Is it possible to, what just happened in Ridgefield, and is that possible and or likely in New Canaan?
the Ridgefield delay their
They're talking about rescinding votes that they've already taken.
the Board of Finance.
No, I think the legislative body, wasn't it?
Well, they don't have, I think they have a town meeting.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, so the Board of Finance can change their recommendation, I guess, before they have their town meeting. But they're not going to have a town meeting. The governor, in towns that have either a representative town, what do they call it in Darien and Greenwich,
Yeah.
or a town meeting, the selectmen are adopting the budget.
Okay. Are there any, I believe that concludes our business. I would invite Katrina Parkhill or Dr. Lutzy. I mentioned earlier if they had, if they wanted to make any remarks, I certainly would want to give them the opportunity. I made you co-host, Dr. Lutzy. I can't find Katrina. There you are. Boom, and co-host and unmute. And unmute. Okay. I would like to echo what Steve Carl said, which is this has been a very difficult decision for all of us. I know it may not appear to be so, but I'm not sure I would have made this decision. I'm not sure I would have made this decision in December when you presented this budget. I'm not sure I would have made this decision a month ago when the Board of Finance approved their budget. But I believe that we are in extraordinary times, and despite the best efforts of several hundred letter writing parents, several hundred parents who come to our meeting and spoken articulately about this and made sure all 12 of us understood the importance of this issue in the community. And I believe that you've convinced all 12 members of the town council that this is a top priority for the schools and the health of the kids. I do not believe that is in dispute. I believe that Dr. Lutzy and Katrina and the entire Board of Education has convinced all 12 of us, there is no doubt in my mind, that you have presented a very tight budget. I know Mike Morrow pointed out that there was little savings to be gotten from here or there. Let me tell you, that was not fat. The savings that they did present to us came at a cost. I am convinced deep down in my heart that that there was nothing else that they could have substituted for school start times, or they would have done so. I believe, and we debated this in our caucus earlier today, that there was no splitting the baby, coming up with some number in the middle and saying, you figure it out. And so we just decided that would be a cop-out, and that was not constructive, and it's not what the Board of Education asked us to do. It said make the decision, yes or no, on the $1 million, and we will live with it. And I respect them. I couldn't respect them any more highly for the way they've handled themselves in this budget and the budget that they presented. And I'm sorry that the conclusion is not what you wanted. But I believe a majority of us felt it had to be based on the circumstances we're in. If you have any comments, Dr. Lutzy or Katrina, the floor is yours.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Nothing to add. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
John, could I make a few comments?
Yes.
So Todd Lavieri, the chairman of the Board of Finance, couldn't be here tonight, but for the past couple of weeks, we've been looking at the spending plan for the rest of this quarter and the first quarter of next year. In my view, a budget is an authorization. It's not a mandate to spend. And so we don't know where we're going to be a month from now or 2 months from now. But if we need to, we will look at slowing down spending the rest of this year. We will look at slowing down spending the beginning of next year. We just don't know yet what the picture is going to look like. So for those who think we ought to be cutting more, we're going to react to the economy as it is by July 1. And we'll do it even before that. So I welcome advice from the town council, as I do from the Board of Finance, and we will address the economy as it comes along.
Well said.
I would like to make one other point. It's a bit anticlimactic. Two changes were contemplated and made today, and we've spent a good deal of time talking only about one of them. The second change came as a recommendation from Todd Lavieri to Kevin and then to me, that we reduce the amount of tax-supported capital in the budget we just read by $600,000. And I wanted to make sure that we were clear to the public about what we did and why we did it. The tax-supported capital line yesterday was roughly $2 million. And it was reduced to $1.4 million today. And $600,000 was taken out of that, and it was to be earmarked for paving. And Todd Lavieri and the Board of Finance are going to discuss whether they're going to reduce the paving budget by $600,000 or bond that $600,000 or come up with some other amount. But they felt comfortable that alongside the Board of Education operational cut, that we could make that second cut of $600,000 toward the tax-supported capital. I wanted to make sure that that was clear and on the record. Did anyone want to make comments? I don't know if Tiger is on the line.
I'm looking at Tiger. You just need to unmute him. I'll unmute him.
Okay. Thank you.
Tiger, you in?
I'm in. What would you like to?
So I didn't, nobody's talked to you about that, or at least I didn't get a chance to talk to you or get your feedback. And I did not want you to think that that was an automatic cut to the paving budget, causing you to have to remake your plans for the entire year. I know that in the last town council meeting, we talked to you about potential opportunities in the current environment to do more paving or accelerated paving. I just wanted to express to you that Todd wants to move this from tax supported to bonding. And I believe he's going to ask you to delay those decisions as long as possible.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
And John, as a result, that is a further reduction to the mill rate would be one of the consequences, right?
That's the purpose of it. Yes. Linda, can you comment on what is the mill rate now? Is it on the sheet that you provided to us? The consequence of this budget, is that on this page right here?
Yes, it's the second to last number at the bottom.
Okay, so based on the budget that was just passed, the mill rate, according to this chart, is going to go, if there are no further changes by the Board of Finance, is going to be 18.029, down from 18.24. Is that correct?
Yes, there are two things that could impact that. One is if the Board of Finances changes the drawdown of the fund balance from 5 million. But then, as you know, that there was a tax appeal process to the Board of Assessment. Appeals, we will get those numbers tomorrow. And so that number could potentially reduce the grant list, in which case that would also impact the mill rate. So the mill rate will be set on Tuesday by the Board of Finance, and that's when we'll have that final number.
Okay. And typically, do they move a good deal from fund balance? Or Kevin, are they contemplating moving a good deal? Or is this a number that is going to be fairly close to what the public can expect?
$5 million is the high we've ever had in the last 10 years, contribution to the budget. So I don't know what the Board of Finance will do next Tuesday. They may drop it somewhat.
Okay. So what you're saying is that we have a fund balance that could be as high as, let's say, 28 or 29 million, and we're contemplating moving 5 million of that out of the fund balance, and they may decide that they want a higher cash reserve and move less.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
I just thank Kevin's comments on behalf of Todd Lavieri and the Board of Selectmen. And I think the whole administration and the amount of effort that has gone into this budget and the sensitivity to what's going on in our economic world now. It was a tough budget for everybody and impacted daily, and I daily. And as it's impacting our personal lives on the council here, we were really very sensitive to what is happening in everybody's personal lives. Each of us, not exceptions. Linda, our Director of Finance, has been extraordinary, and I hats off to him and his constant recalculations of all of our negotiations. So I thank you. And Brian, the Board of Education and the administration to be commended on the delivery of an extraordinary e-learning. We're hearing nothing but compliments, which is how you run our school systems anyway. So I know it's an extraordinary time for you, but hats off to all of you.
Okay, there being no further comments, do I have a motion to adjourn?
John, before you do that, I'd like to make a comment too about Linda. Linda started this budget last October. We're actually perhaps September with the Board of Finance guidance. And he started as the budget director. He became the CFO and budget director in January. And he's done a marvelous job getting us through this difficult budget season. I want to thank Linda.
You hear the applause, Linda?
Thank you.
Real quick, I also wanted to give some thanks.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, John, can I?
Steve wants to say something, John.
He's trying to, Steve, you need to talk into your mic.
You can't hear me?
Nope.
Apparently.
Weak.
Oh boy. Can I go?
There you go.
Is that better? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I just wanted to add that, Kevin has been in every meeting, every minute. I call him the every meeting, every minute guy. He never leaves a meeting that we're having. And I can't thank, Kevin personally enough for being in these meetings every single time we're there. He's there. So thank you, Kevin.
I wasn't in your caucus today, though.
That's all right. You can't be at every single thing. But the other thing I want to mention is Todd Lavieri and Mike Chen along the way, along with the other Board of Finance members. It really is a team effort, and both Todd and Michael gave us really good input and knowledge, and gave us advice and guidance over this really difficult time. And I wanted to thank them as well, because without their help, there's been years where the Board of Finance and the council don't always see eye to eye. But this year, we have been in lockstep with them. It's really, they've really been helpful. So thanks to them as well. And we really didn't mention tonight police, fire, EMS, all the folks out there that are first responders, and A, what they're doing for the community, but B, what they did with their budgets was really amazing. I mean, they've really trimmed their budgets to the point where we all questioned whether it was enough. So thanks to them. The transfer station guys, Public Works, Highway Department, all of these guys trimmed their budgets as much as they could. across the board. So really, really want to thank them. And, you know, I had a quote from Maya Angelou to close it out. And she said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And I think that's where we are. So thanks to everybody. We really worked hard.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Christina, all in favor of adjourning? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you,
Stay
everybody.
well, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you all.
John?